What is going on, everybody? We are here today to do an NFL teams tier list for the 2021-2022 NFL football season. This is after week one. Well, it's after the Sunday games of week one. We still have the Baltimore Ravens playing tonight against the Las Vegas Raiders. And remember, this is just my opinion. There's no reason to flame me in the comments, but if you do, I can't do anything about it. You should let me know what you think maybe I got wrong in the comments, but like I said, it's just an opinion. You can't get an opinion wrong. But we are going to go right on into this. Getting straight on into things, we are going to go. This isn't necessarily going to be an order. I'll try to put it in the best order that I can. I think there's a few spots where I may not be 100% sure, but we are going to start this tier list off with who I believe is the worst team in the NFL. And we are going to go straight on. Who's it going to be? The Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, remember, this is post week one. They played a team known as the Houston Texans and got absolutely blown out. Week one against the Houston Texans. Without Deshaun Watson. I have nothing else to say. Trevor Lawrence, #1 overall pick. They were the worst team last year. Maybe they break through to the top of this tier later on in the season, but I think this is the only acceptable spot for them right now. But moving on to the next worst team in the NFL. Can you guess who it's going to be? It is the New York Jets. The New York Jets are going to have another season of failure. Now, I must say, they did get Zach Wilson, and he's going to have to produce. You know, he's going to have to grow as an NFL quarterback. He's a rookie. Rookie quarterbacks usually struggle. But overall, I mean, I just don't see the, I don't see the upside for this team this season. And of course, they're rebuilding. They lost to the Panthers. It was a close game. They lost 19-14. So maybe they have a little bit more of a ceiling than I'm giving them right now. We'll have to see how everything plays out with the new quarterback. Corey Davis looked great week one, looking like a #1 receiver, and it looks like Wilson found his go-to guy. Those are just some positives that I can give about the Jets if I am to give them any. Next up, we are going to move on to the New York Giants. Now, with the Giants, I just don't see what they necessarily are going to do this season. I mean, I feel like it's the same team pretty much that we had last year with the Giants, just an underachieving team. Of course, they have Saquon Barkley back. That's going to be a help. He was limited week one. They lost 27-13 against the Broncos. I just feel like the Giants have to be in this tier, and if I'm going to put them anywhere, I think that's probably the most accurate representation for them as a team this year. Next up on this tier list, also going in bottom tier, is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. Ultimately, they just looked hopeless week one. They scored early, got out to a 6-point lead, but the Eagles defeated the Falcons 32-6 week one. Jalen Hurts just absolutely dismantled this defense. The Eagles' defense held up. I mean, the Falcons' offense had nothing for them in this game. No Julio Jones. You know, they got to figure things out in Atlanta. The offensive line, it's not good. Not good right now for Atlanta. Next up on this tier list, we are going to put the Houston Texans, and maybe next year. And honestly, they looked pretty good week one. I was a little bit surprised. Tyrod Taylor had a nice little game. They produced on offense with the triple threat at running back. Mark Ingram leading the way. David Johnson scoring a touchdown. You know, Houston beat the Jags, which isn't saying much, but, you know, they won their week one matchup. That's all you can ask for them. No Deshaun Watson this season is really going to put them down. I mean, that guy was such a valuable player for this team. The Houston Texans with a week one win, 37-21 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now this next team I am struggling with. I don't know whether to put them in this tier or this tier. Before yesterday, I would have definitely put them in this tier. But I think the next team on our tier list is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. We're just going to do it. We're going to throw them in the almost there tier. Now, their offense looked pretty solid against the Minnesota Vikings defense. Of course, they won 27-24 in overtime against the Vikings. And I mean, their offense looked pretty good. Their offensive line has always been their struggle. Joe Mixon played a great game. Of course, we had Jamar Chase scoring a touchdown. And Burrow's back from an injury. So I think this tier is correct. I think they have to go in this tier right now. After week 1, of course. Before this week, I would have thrown them in the bottom tier. But the Bengals moving on up. Now, like I said, this tier list is coming out before Monday Night Football. Ravens versus Raiders. But I do think that we're going to throw the Raiders in the almost there tier. I think their upside is very bottom of this tier. I mean, I wouldn't put them any higher. Very bottom of this tier. But I think we're going to throw them in almost there. And like I said, they haven't played this week. We'll see how they look against the Ravens. And don't forget, the Ravens lost their top 2 running backs. So we'll see how this plays out. Tyson Williams starting in the backfield. We'll see if the Raiders can stop that Ravens offense. And ultimately, haven't seen them play yet. They're going in the almost there tier, if I'm basing everything off of what I've seen in preseason. And next up on this tier list, we are going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, Minnesota lost week 1 to the Cincinnati Bengals. You may be wondering why I'm putting them ahead of the Bengals. I just think their ceiling is higher this year. Who knows? Maybe the Bengals prove me wrong. I think they just have defensive flaws. I think they played a pretty good game against the Vikings, but I do think the Vikings accumulate more wins this season than the Bengals and the Raiders. Next up in this tier list, we are going to go to a team that looked really good week 1, and I don't know if it was because of the opposition that they played or if their ceiling is just that high, and it is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles fans, I understand. Great week 1 win. Jalen Hurts looked incredible. Devonta Smith goes out there, looks great in his opening game. He's going to be a huge threat at receiver, and I think that they could definitely make it into this tier. But as of right now, they played the Atlanta Falcons. It's not proving that much to us. I do believe in the ceiling of this team, but I just have to throw them in this tier right now. Eagles fans, don't hate me, please. I'm rooting for them in their division, I will say. We'll see how it all plays out. Next up on the tier list, we are going to go with a team that won their week 1 matchup. Who did they win their week 1 matchup against? They won their week 1 matchup against one of these teams. You see the theme here? And I'm not just basing it off of matchup week 1. I'm looking at the future of the teams too, but right now we are going to throw the Denver Broncos in the almost there tier. They won their week 1 matchup against the New York Giants 27-13, as we mentioned earlier. Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback this year. He's going to be a great game management quarterback. We'll see how they do. They had the injury to Jerry Jeudy, the high ankle sprain, so that will affect things. Of course, for the backfield, you got Javonte Williams. He's working his way up, and who knows, midseason, this team may work their way to this tier. I do think a lot of these teams can make it into this tier. I will say that. And just, I mean, these tiers can make it up here. You know, who knows? Maybe one of these tiers can make it down here. You never know. It's week 1 of the season. It's hard to get a read until about week 3, week 4. But yeah, on to the next team in this tier list. It is going to be, if we look right here, drum roll, the Carolina Panthers. They played against the New York Jets week 1. They won a close game, very contested game. Christian McCaffrey had like 150 all-purpose yards. He's going to do that this year. Of course, they have Sam Darnold. They have Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. They have weapons. I think that with Matt Rule as coach, I think they're sitting pretty right here. And to top off this tier, can you guess who it is? If you look at all of these teams, who is it that is going to top off the almost there tier? Oh, and I almost feel dirty for doing this one. I really do. But we look. No, you know what? You know what? I'm not giving up on this team. I can't do it. I can't do it. The next up in this tier list is going to be the Washington football team. Am I biased because my fantasy football team's name is the Washington Fantasy Football Team? Slightly biased, but I just noticed I had the Eagles and the Giants in these two tiers. That just leaves the Cowboys and the football team left. I have to consider them playoff hopefuls if I believe that they're going to get second place in their division. And that means I have the Cowboys winning that division based off of week 1 and, leading up to the season. So we got the football team. They lost a very close matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Chargers have a lot of potential this year. The football team looked good. Ryan Fitzpatrick got injured. The reason I'm ranking them in this tier is because I do trust in Taylor Heineke to be a sneaky good option at quarterback for them. Antonio Gibson, I mean, there's just options for this team. They just had to figure a few things out. They still are elite on the defensive end of the football, in my opinion. And I think that they should definitely be in this tier as opposed to the almost there tier. And honestly, before we move on, I feel like we had to move. I feel like the Vikings need to go up here. I think they're going to go right there. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to put the Vikings. We're moving them up just a little bit. Okay, and the next team that we'll be adding to the tier list after the Washington football team will be... I think we're going to go with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, with the Colts, they have to be healthy. They have to be healthy at quarterback. They have to be healthy at running back. Carson Wentz, not as mobile in the pocket, it seemed week 1 as he used to be. I know those lower leg injuries are catching up. He has to stay healthy for this team to have success. Jonathan Taylor has to stay healthy as well, Naheem Hines. And this team has potential. They lost to the Seahawks this week. Their offense just needs production. They need to produce on offense. Seattle's a great team. You can't fault them too much for losing to them. And yeah, the Indianapolis Colts go right here in the tier list. Next up in this tier list, we are going to go with the New England Patriots. It's so weird seeing them in the middle of the pack, but Mac Jones starting at quarterback didn't look bad. Tough matchup against the Miami Dolphins. They lost a very close game. They had the ball in Dolphins territory towards the end of the game. They had the fumble by Harris. Lost a close contested game. Their defense is going to be good this year. Their offense is going to be a game flow type offense. They're going to be in a lot of close games. I think they can pull it out. They're the Patriots. Bill Belichick as coach. I think they're sitting pretty in the middle. So after the Patriots, we are going to go with the Chicago Bears. Now the Bears, I'm not as low on this team as a lot of people are. The Rams are just a very good football team. I do think the Bears win some games this year. You know what? Actually, we're going to throw the Bears at the bottom of this tier. Actually, you know what? No. They're going in this tier. They should not be ahead of these teams, in my opinion. Sorry, Bears fans. The offense, Allen Robinson's going to have to come up big this year. They're going to have to put in Fields. Andy Dalton at quarterback, I think they're here. Maybe if they put in Fields mid-year, they can be up in the middle tier. But right now, no. They have to go here. Defensively, they didn't look good against the Rams. That's a high-powered Rams offense. No, they're going in the almost there tier. Wow. Everyone's probably losing their mind. I'm not foolish, and I'm very sorry for this. I had just realized something. One of these teams does not belong. I'm a big fan of this team. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. The Detroit Lions. I'm not foolish enough to put them up here. I'm not. The Detroit Lions. Oh man. They're going to have to go right here. I think they're going to be at the bottom of maybe next year. Or at the top, rather. They're going to be the best team in the maybe next year. I just think they were getting blown out by the 49ers, of course. They came back, made it an 8-point game. Jared Goff at quarterback. DeAndre Swift looked great. Williams looked great as well. They split backfield. This team has potential, just not this year. They're going to have to work on some things in the offseason. Just play their heart out this year. Detroit can make some close games against some good teams. I don't think they win too many games, but I think they have close matches with some of these top teams. I'm so sorry that Detroit worked their way up until that point without me noticing. I'm a big Detroit fan. Been a fan since they went 0-16. Loved the underdog aspect of it. Calvin Johnson's my favorite player ever. I'll actually show you. I have a jersey hanging up over there of Calvin Johnson. But no, Detroit is a bottom tier team. Sorry about that. Okay, next up in this tier list, we are going to go with the Miami Dolphins. We'll put them right ahead of the Patriots. They won a close game against the Patriots. Pats made some mistakes, lost a close game. I think the Dolphins have a good potential to make the playoffs this year. They have a good team. You have Will Fuller coming back from his suspension this next upcoming week. Tua at quarterback, Jalen Waddle. Yeah, you know, Myles Gaskin. They have some good weapons on offense. Mike Gesicki, Devonta Parker. They have weapons. Defensively, they have to be efficient. They have to play decent defense to win these games. But I expect the Dolphins to be somewhere in this area right here with the Patriots and the Colts. Next up, we are going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I think the Dallas Cowboys will win their division. I think they will beat out the football team. I think the Eagles also have a chance. We'll see how it plays out with the Eagles, though. There's a lot of unknowns. Also, with the football team, there's some unknowns. But I think the Cowboys definitely have the best chance to win their division. So I'll put them right here. Highest place in their division. They look good against the Bucs. The Bucs are a great team. The Cowboys kept it close. Dak Prescott is back. Ezekiel Elliott needs to produce more in the backfield. But that 1-2 head at receiver with CD Lamb and Amari Cooper, with Dak Prescott throwing the football to them, dangerous. Next up, we are going to go with the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Tennessee Titans had a tough week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals offense just obliterated Tennessee. Tennessee's offense looked flat. Julio Jones, not much of a factor at all. A.J. Brown had a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill got sacked 5 times from Chandler Jones alone. Major problems on the edge of that O-line. And I know Chandler Jones is a once-in-a-lifetime athlete, so maybe it's just that specific matchup. But the Tennessee Titans, they have to stay in this tier after week 1. I can't put them any higher. I just can't right now. Next up, we are going to throw a team that had some odd past couple weeks. It had a very strange past few weeks, especially in the running back position. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The Baltimore Ravens. We're going to throw them at the bottom of this tier right here. I do think this team can still be something special, even with their top 2 running backs out. They do have free agents such as Le'Veon Bell, Devonta Freeman, and Latavius Murray coming to their team. Tyson Williams will start this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. But I think that if they get those veteran running backs up and going into a workflow and just have steady volume out of those guys, I do think that Lamar Jackson can still do his thing, find some magic, and I think this team still has the potential to make it deep into the playoffs. Next up in this tier, we are going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Chargers won a very close game against the Washington football team. Of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick got injured, but the Chargers, Justin Herbert threw the ball pretty effective. Against a good defense. Mike Williams was getting a ton of targets, getting a lot of receptions too. Definitely giving good production at the wide receiver 2 spot. Keenan Allen, of course, doing his thing. Austin Eckler doing his thing. If Austin Eckler can stay healthy and Justin Herbert can continue to improve his game, this team is definitely going to have a chance to make it to the playoffs and to maybe surprise some people this season. Next up, we are going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I must admit, the Arizona Cardinals looked phenomenal week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. But I do think that there are some teams that can really slow down the offense of the Cardinals and also keep up and put up points with that team. Now, they're going to be a tough matchup for anybody in the NFL, but I do think the Cardinals belong right where they are in this tier list. If you disagree, you can leave a comment below. And like I said, if you disagree with any of these picks, make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'll try to reply to all of the comments. But yeah, this is just my opinion. Next up, we are going to go with the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Packers, I think this is a team that can find their way to the top of this tier, maybe the very bottom of this tier. The Packers are still a great football team. Aaron Rodgers just did not play well. A lot of controversy this offseason with Aaron Rodgers and the team, the higher management of the team. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I think Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if he just doesn't care or what it is. I highly doubt that. I mean, the Saints are just a great football team this season, as it appears, week 1 at least. But they just did not have a good game. They look flat. I don't expect that from this team the rest of this season. I'm going to have to throw them right here, even though they did not look good week 1. Next up, a team that also did not look very good week 1. It was the Buffalo Bills. Now, I will say the Bills didn't look awful. I don't know why I just said they didn't look very good. They didn't. I mean, they didn't look great. They looked all right. Stephon Diggs with 9 receptions, I think 69 receiving yards. Josh Allen, nullified for the most part, had some turnovers here and there. It was just a tough matchup against, I believe, the team that has the best defense in the NFL, in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Bills will bounce back. It was a tough matchup against the Steelers week 1. I do think they're still going to win a lot of games this season. High-powered offense, good defense. They lost a close contested match against the Steelers. They were winning the first half of the football game, just kind of lost it towards the end. Next up, we are going to go with a team that looked very good week 1 early on, but then had some second half woes. A lot happened in the second half of this football game. Of course, I'll go ahead and tell you who the team is now. It is the San Francisco 49ers. You could see my mouse hovered over it for 10 seconds there. But Raheem Mostert goes out in the first half. He is going to be out for 8 weeks minimum. So that's a blow. Of course, they have Elijah Mitchell, who came in and looked really good at the running back position, over 100 yards rushing with a touchdown. Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch week 1. We'll see if he becomes the premier back. But having those two in the backfield with Hasty as well, the Mostert injury shouldn't be too big of a bump. Now, there's the quarterback situation there. Trey Lance as the backup. Jimmy Garoppolo started. Jimmy Garoppolo had a great game. Trey Lance came in, scored a touchdown. The fate of this team comes down to the decision they make at quarterback. Why ruin something that's working with Jimmy G? Maybe because the beginning of a new era is right there on the bench. Who knows what they decide to do? I think that there will be a quarterback change mid-season. I hate saying that. I have a Jimmy G jersey. Big Jimmy G fan from back on the Patriots days. But I think that San Francisco has a great chance to make it deep into the playoffs. And it's crazy. I just realized that 2 of the NFC West teams, the 2 lowest rated NFC West teams, are in the potential championship appearance tier. And this doesn't mean championship as in the Super Bowl. It means like the conference finals, the conference championship games. I think these teams are hopefuls for that. Higher playoff hopefuls, not just wild card round playoff teams. Next up, we are going to go with... Oh, this is a tough one. So, what we're going to do is we are going to have 3 AFC teams up here. And we are going to have 3 NFC teams up here. Oh, man. Who would I take out of the NFC? I think we'll go with the Saints. I think the Saints got to go right here. Right there. I just... Who knows? Jameis Winston looked great week 1. He got LASIK eye surgery. He can see again. Alvin Kamara in the backfield. Michael Thomas going to come back mid-season. This team could potentially end up there. But as of right now, I got to put them at the top of this tier. All right, and next up, we are going to start this top tier, Super Bowl contenders. The first team that we are going to throw into this tier is the Cleveland Browns. Now, a lot of people are like, what are you talking about, man? Look, this team has a ceiling unmatched, maybe matched by a couple of teams, which is why they are right here. But they are in the top tier. Their ceiling is top tier. The offense, the defense, this team just has all of the potential to be something special. If Baker Mayfield can produce at quarterback, this team has all of the makings to make a big run in the playoffs. Cleveland Browns start off top tier. And next up, we are going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. I contemplated putting this team higher. They looked incredible week 1 against the Bears. Scored a lot of points against the Bears, some of them late, albeit. But Matthew Stafford at quarterback, running that offense, I just think that there is a huge ceiling. Sean McVay, head coach, Matthew Stafford have a great relationship together. And I liked what I saw out of the Rams. One of the best defenses in the sport as well. But moving on up, we are going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that the Steelers make it to the AFC Championship game if I'm going off my rankings. And I think that they have a chance. I mean, with their defense, they can win football games. As long as their offense can produce points, even if it's just chipping away with field goals, as you saw against the Bills. They can win football games strictly based off of their defense. Now, if their offense can get going, with Juju, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Najee Harris, this team can really put a stamp on teams in this season of the NFL. Next up, we are going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. Like I said, if I'm going off of my rankings, Seattle will make it to the NFC Championship game. I actually don't know if that's true, to be honest. They sometimes struggle early in playoffs, but I think that their team has the ceiling to make it really far, especially if they go on one of their runs that they went on when they went to the Super Bowl a few seasons ago. Now, I do think the Rams are a tough matchup. Of course, the Rams defeated the Seahawks in the last year's playoffs, but the Seahawks have a great team. Russ still at quarterback. Their O-line looked better than last year for sure. And they were playing the Colts, and their O-line looked much better than last season. DK had some catches, a touchdown. Tyler Lockett with a couple deep balls looked good. Chris Carson back. I do think the Seahawks have a high ceiling this year. They're going to go right here at number 3 overall. Next up, we are going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, the Chiefs, and here, I'll go ahead and place the Bucs up here too. The Bucs are, I believe, the best team in football this year. But the Kansas City Chiefs, they won a very close game against the Browns week 1. They had to work their way back into the game. Travis Kelce was involved. Tyreek Hill was involved heavily. Patrick Mahomes worked some magic, and the Kansas City Chiefs won, but their defense is rough. They're going to have to put up a lot of points, and they're going to lose some games this season, just strictly based off of their defense. Now, if their offense produces, they should win many more games than they lose, but yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs at number 2. Number 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions, who looked incredible week 1, won a very close game against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys looked good in that game too. I mean, you can't take anything away from the Cowboys. Very close game, had the lead. Tom Brady marched it back down the field for a game-winning drive. They kicked the field goal, win by 2 points. The Bucs looked incredible. Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Godwin doing work. Mike Evans not too effective week 1, but I do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are probably my favorite to win the Super Bowl this season. And that is it for the tier list, everybody. Like I said, if you disagree with anything or you agree with anything, comment. Let me know what you guys' rankings are for this NFL season. And yeah, please like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. There will be plenty more videos upcoming. I'll probably do another tier list mid-season, and then before the playoffs, I'll do my final tier list. One of my final tier list, and then I'll do a final one after the playoffs. But yeah, this is just a week 1 tier list for the 2021, the 2022 NFL season. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.